I'm so excited. And here's the cool part. So about 10 years ago, I put together everything I'd learned from nonviolent communication to a lot of the self-help books that I had been using. I created the Rx Empathy Kit. It's probably about 5 years ago, maybe even earlier. There have been a few versions cobbled together. And the power of this kit, which uncovers my feelings, discovers my unmet needs, gives me strategies on how to meet those needs, and inspiring questions to go deeper. This has been a powerful tool for me to reach this emotional maturity that I was so desperately wanting and connect deeper with myself and with others. So I'm excited to announce that I have now created the Rx Empathy Kit, a very nice version that I really want to share with all of you. I'll show you the inside of the kit. It has 4 steps. There's the inside, and there's the cover. And I really want to offer it to you as well. Very soon, I will have a step-by-step video on how to use the kit. It's a very simple but extremely profound exercise that I really recommend you do as often as possible. Ultimately, what this kit does is it takes life's challenges and turns them into opportunities for personal growth. And that's what I want for you. "12 years ago, I found myself in the middle of a life that was honestly falling apart. My marriage was broken, my kids were all in struggle, and I wanted desperately to do the right thing, but I had no idea where to start. Then it occurred to me that I need to start with myself. For years, I'd been focused on helping my husband and my kids with their mental health issues and their addictions, and I realized, you know what, it's up to me to lead my family from madness and dysfunction to a much more connected and loving and compassionate life. And I had to start with myself. I decided that I needed to heal myself. I didn't even know exactly what that meant, but I knew that it was something I needed to do. I needed to become the best possible version of myself so I could make decisions for my family that would be good decisions. It would lead us to loving connection and compassion and respect for each other. The opposite, really, of what we were living at the time. You know, it's easy to start focusing on family members who are really struggling or even have a diagnosis. It's easy to focus on trying to fix them. Here's what I've learned. When you have even just one family member that's struggling, the whole family needs help. And from my personal experience as a mother, the most powerful thing that you can do if a family member is struggling is get yourself help, so that when you are interacting with family members, you're coming from a place of respect and compassion. We're all raised by human beings that unfortunately create situations where we learn coping mechanisms and we develop beliefs that are not conducive to respect and compassion and true connection. So this is an opportunity to go to uncover what those beliefs are and start to create new beliefs and to understand where some of your behaviors and some of your ideas are coming from. I took my decision to heal myself really seriously. I got a therapist. I found a therapist who I am still with today. She's absolutely fantastic. I explained to her what my goal was, that I needed to heal myself. My family was in dysfunction. She met my family. I did some marriage counseling with her. She met my children one-on-one. And I then started meeting with her on a one-on-one basis because I wanted her to help me understand what part of my behavior was continuing the cycle of dysfunction and disconnection that was happening in my family. I also started a women's support group. I wanted to be surrounded by other women that were also in struggle. Most of us are. We are all, doing the best we can and trying to navigate marriages and families, and it's not easy. So I surrounded myself with women, and we were able to share our story and get some empathy from each other so that we didn't feel alone. I also studied nonviolent communication, and that was a huge part of the important steps that I took walking out of dysfunction to a life of compassion and respect and empathy. I read every single self-help book I could get that pointed me in the direction of emotional maturity and authenticity. Those were really what my goals were, if you look at the overview. I decided that I would learn how to live and love with respect, compassion, and accountability. That was sort of my mantra. I wanted respect, compassion, and accountability. And of course, it had to start with me. I needed to model it. I needed to figure out, was I acting with respect? Was I being accountable? And trust me, it was a painful realization that I was not modeling what I wanted for my children. So it was an important step. What kept me going on this difficult journey? My kids did, for sure. I needed to be the best possible version of myself so that I could take our family to a place of love and connection and respect and compassion. My kids deserve it. And really, they're the people who keep me going to this day. The journey for me will never end. Once I discovered the power of personal growth and making this an important aspect of your daily life, I will never turn back. It's much too gratifying, and the feeling that you get from making your well-being and your personal growth a priority, there's nothing that compares, and it makes life so much better. I still look back at the time 12 years ago when I decided that my goal was to heal myself. I look back at it and I'm so glad I decided to do that. I really think it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. Was or is the journey easy? Hell no, absolutely not. But is it worth it? Without question, it's worth it. It has turned my family around. It has made my relationships and my life so much richer. If you follow my blog, you already know some of my struggle, and I will continue to share what I learn and how I'm turning my life around with you. It's definitely been worth it. Has it been a straight line to emotional maturity and compassion and accountability and respect? That's a hard no. Absolutely not. But you know, I'm not here to be perfect at this. I'm actually here to be real. I want to be able to accept myself as my perfectly imperfect self. That's what I want to be able to do. I want to get to know myself, understand what drives me, and then heap compassion on myself when I stumble, when I don't quite deliver the way I want to. That kind of compassion allows yourself to show up in a much better way. So my journey, as I said, continues to this day. I still see my therapist. We have a great relationship. I still make my personal growth a priority. And I make sure I feel my feelings instead of numbing them. I used to numb them with fixing others. That's that codependency. Wine, Netflix. My personal favorite is overbooking myself, being way, way too busy. That's one way I can avoid feeling. And sometimes I find myself slipping back into it, but at least now I recognize it. And it's a fairly rare thing to happen now. I'm working on being real and present because that's the only way that I can be to connect intimately with others, with myself, with my kids, with my friends, with my family. And this has brought a richness to the relationships in my life that I honestly didn't know existed. It also makes it possible for me to be emotionally mature. I'm no longer driven by the 6-year-old in me who is, emotionally distraught, and I don't let my emotions take charge. I honor my emotions and my feelings. There's a gap, though, between feeling and reacting because I've taken the time to get to know myself